Welcome back to the garage, guys, and welcome to number 3 of the recap videos. This is where I'm going to go through the entire Halo cage from start to finish. If you're familiar with my long format videos, this covers, yes, all 7 of them, all condensed into this one. Now, I do leave out a lot of the nuances, the mistakes, as well as a lot of the detail. If you want to take a deep dive into this Halo cage, there's actually 7 long format videos. The links will be in the description, so feel free to check those videos out. But as for this recap video, I'm omitting all of the mistakes and trials and only sticking to the highlights. So let's get started. First things first, to minimize damage to the paint on the interior, I got some painter's tape on Amazon and covered the paint in order to protect it from the cage building process. Now it's time to break out the bender. See if we can bend some tube here. So grabbing the first length of tube and cleaning the gunk off it, then sticking it in the bender, I made a 90-degree bend to help me set up how the cage is going to sit against the windshield. That is going to be freaking awesome. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm okay. Yeah. All right. All right. I'm going to make a Halo style cage. What that means is you have like a halo, right? If you think about above your head, a halo comes up and around. What I think that means is you got the halo that comes up and around, right? You've got certain cages that come up and down, and you have, certain things that come over and down. But a Halo style comes forward, across, and then back to the back, right? So it looks like a Halo. Have 2 90s, one here, and then I want to roll the tube back to hit right in here somewhere.
Everybody got that? Good.
With that goal in mind, I picked up a tube roller from Harbor Freight, sorted it out, and gave it a go. Okay, so I probably screwed up this part here, but this is what's up. All right, see these little keyways? So those correspond with the ones in the roller. So as you twist this, it twists that. If you tighten it down too much, apparently that's what I did, it strips out these bolts. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it every 6 or so inches, and I'm going to stick it in the bender, and I'm just going to put like a degree or 2 or 3 degree every 6 inches, and that'll shape it. I guess it's out with the tube roller, and I marked the tube for bending. And with a 17-degree bend, that includes lead-in and spring back, I got a pretty nice arch. Then I held it up to test fit it into Bug. It worked pretty good, but I do need to put heavier bends after the front seats, so I added 3 more degrees to the bends on half the tube. That ended up being too much. Well, actually almost. It turns out it did fit, but the shortness of my test piece was a problem. I did check the 2 different arches on the whole Bug body, and it turns out that these 2 arches will be all I need to build the Halo cage. I had made 2 identical 90s for the front, and I held them up and measured between them. Then I cut a small piece out of the shallow arch and used it to connect the 90s. So now, take this, so that actually worked out a bit. And this is where I got a little ambitious. I'm going to try to do a single piece going up, making these corners, around, making that corner, and back, all the way out of 1 piece of tube. That's right, the whole Halo out of 1 long length. To do it, I got a couple of 20-footers and got bending. While I messed up the first time, it was actually quite a silly mistake. The second attempt seemed to work out. The hardest part was to put all those little bends and the long stringers to the back firewall. But in the end, it worked. if it looked like I was struggling there for a bit, I was really. But here's what it looks like. While it is super long, the thought worked. So I grabbed the mock-up pieces I made earlier and put them in place. This allowed me to mark and trim the big halo to size. I made the initial cut long because after all, you could always trim more, and sure enough, it was too long. But the second cut was way closer. However, this is where the weakness of my plan really showed itself. The size of the halo is really hard to manage, so I called for Bella's help, and with her holding it up, I used a clamp to hold it in place while I worked with the back. I had to pull the halo in and out many times. In the end, I had enough and decided to change direction. While having one long tube length would have been really cool, it is simply too hard to wield around. So I tacked some sleeves into the mock-up pieces and reinstalled them, this time setting them up to be the final product. All right, I'm using double thick cardboard, as you can see, just to space it off the front windshield and the sides. The reason I'm doing that, just to center the hoop inside. I don't want it too close to the body. So after placing multiple cardboard spacers, I set the front in place. And tack welded it to the roof using metal tabs to hold it in place. Then I cut the big halo up. This allowed me to work with each side of the halo individually, getting the right fitment without having to lug the whole halo in and out. As you can see, this made fine-tuning the spreaders much easier. All right, guys, just real quick, putting in the spreader bars, the back legs to the halo, and I've decided I'm gonna land them on a little piece of angle. I got a piece of angle that I'm gonna hit right onto that, and then it'll bolt through. Now, there's gonna be a down piece down to the floor to keep it strong, but that'll tie to the back of the body. Do I like the halo being in many pieces welded together? Frankly, no. But with the inner sleeves in place and 360-degree welding all the way around it, I'm not too worried about it. Hopefully, I'm not proven wrong. So after matching up the two sides so they're equal, the halo is high and tight to the body. Now, I know what you're thinking. I thought you were going to build it out of one piece. Actually, I did. And then I cut it up because do you have any idea how hard it is to hold this thing up when you don't have any help and stuff like that? So, chopped it up. Didn't want to do that, but it is what it is. But yeah, so now the next thing is I'm going to add the top bars across the B pillar and the C pillar. Then I'll pull the whole thing out, weld it up outside so I can get the tops, get full 360-degree welding up there, make sure everything is 100% tight and good. And then also put in the diagonals, the bracing there. With that, I got some measurements and started cutting the side-to-side pieces. And just so you know, while the B-pillar crossbar needed to have the shallower bends, the C-pillar bar needed the tighter bends. So I trimmed and coped the two crossbars, put them in place, and tack welded them to keep them from moving on me. The halo was then removed and fully welded outside the body. Skipping forward to the diagonal bracing, you'll notice that I primed the halo. We are in the south, so it's kind of necessary. After making a second piece, I sized them up and trimmed to fit. Once everything fit, I tacked them in place. Then came final welding. Next, it was the rear diagonals turn. I wanted to keep things in line with the forward diagonals, so this took some planning. In the end, I needed to land the rear diagonals on the C-pillar crossbar. I also needed to do some creative coping which I covered in the long format videos. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, baby. That'll do her. With everything lined up, I welded the rear diagonals in place. From here, you can see that from the side, with the arch in the roof, the diagonals really stick up higher than the main halo structure. Lastly, I ended the diagonals by installing small lengths behind the C-pillar crossbar. This really tied everything together and helped eliminate any dead tubes. With everything welded up, I installed it, make sure everything fit. Yes, Bella helped again. This cage is a bit awkward to handle on my own. But in the end, the finished product is awesome. It fit tight to the roof and perfectly takes the place of the headliner. And from the side, you can't even tell it's there. Alright, now that I know it fit, it's time to take it out and paint it. Nothing special, just some primer and my favorite hammered silver. Why didn't I leave it in there? Well, because I have one more thing to do before that happens, and that's to put in some sound deadening. The sound deadening I'm using is Rockville's Rock Mat. Not only is it inexpensive, but it totally matches my color scheme. Besides, I can get it in this massive roll and cut pieces to my desired length. So after removing the tabs that I held the cage up with, I measured the roof and started cutting. Then I cleaned the roof with some acetone and alcohol, and the first layer went on. I'll be honest, getting in place is pretty easy with the backing on, but once you expose that gooey stuff, things get a little tricky. In order for not to have to slide it into a whole bunch of different crevices, I cut 2-inch thick pieces, slid those in, and then retried to install the rock mat. This made it way easier. But it was still tricky getting the last end to tuck into the crevice. Alright, first layer of rock mat is on. I did trim a little too much off of that. It doesn't go all the way up underneath. You see a little bit of orange. I think what I'll have to do is the same thing I did back here. I think I put a small strip. I think I'll put a strip all the way around. Oh, by the way, so yeah, this stuff is going to be great. I'm really happy with the effect. But anyway, to make things easier on me, I did cut a bunch of strips and put them in place first. I also installed the rock mat in the rear quarters. But before I could do the roof, I had to fill a couple of holes. So after welding in some plugs and sanding them, I used seam sealer to make sure there was no pinholes. Once that was dry, I rolled out the rock mat and started on the rest of the roof. It's all pretty straightforward. I worked from the back to the front, overlapping it just a touch. The only place I had issues tucking it in was above the windshield. I am pretty much done with this round of soundproofing. As you can see, it's very solid sounding. I absolutely love that. Oh, by the way, yeah, not bad at all. That was awesome. With all the logos pointing in the same direction, it just looks good. The last thing I did was remove the painter's tape so I could start installing a cage, hopefully for the last time. But first, my middle son Sean and I added some rock mat to the rear firewall. Then we put the cage in place. And using a single tab up front to hold it up. It looks freaking awesome. Well, that's it for recap number 3. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Damian, and this is the Binder Builder.